Hi, welcome to another episode of 365 Unplugged. Now in video and podcast form, I am Loryan Strant and joined as always by...
So Loryan is recording somewhere, and normally he sits at his desk and he's got a webcam on the top, and today the phone is almost up against your nose. I'm Alistair Pugin, by the way, but this is the extreme close-up view that nobody wants to see.
Hang on, what if I do this? Is that better?
That's even closer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Even closer. Half your face.
Is that
you need
better?
an arm, right? You need a Buckley arm.
Is that better?
Well, it's gonna pull your face in anyway, so it doesn't matter where you stand.
I don't want to. No, I don't want it to be that close then.
It is fine the way it is. Don't stress about it.
All right, we'll start again then.
No, carry on. We're not starting again. It's perfect the way it is. It's the banter that people watch the show for, not for the.
Is it
for the advice that we leave them with?
All right.
What are we talking
you
about?
Haven't said who you are yet. You haven't said who you are yet. You haven't said your name.
I did. I said I'm Alistair Pugin, coming to you from hotter than hell, sunny Johannesburg. I'm actually in country, in a location for an undetermined amount of time, unlike the rest of my life. So I'm very excited about not having to jump on a plane anytime soon.
I'm also in the same place where I usually live, not at home at the moment because I've just finished a user group, but I will be back on a plane next week going to a state, then coming home for a day, then going back to that same state.
Okay, and that's
anyway, so topics. Let's get into this. So, because my arm's going to get tired quite soon. So topics. I would like to talk about Yammer in Teams.
Is that like a Superman thing, right? I just need to understand because you did some unveiling today on Twitter, on Facebook.
No, it's just Yammer in Teams.
Yeah, but that's different. Is it?
Anyway.
All right. I want to talk about not records management being dead, but Microsoft acquiring a product that sort of destroys migration companies. I think it was called MOVER.
Yes. It is.
Not to be confused with MOVER, which I think Microsoft also bought.
Yeah. Yes, about a week or two before that. All right, so let's paper, rock, scissors this. Ready?
Okay. Ready? Well, how are you gonna? What are you gonna hit on? Because you're holding the.
I don't have to hit on anything. I can just do this. I can move.
Just do that.
Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, and 3. Oh, paper beats rock. So your topic. Congratulations, you've won.
I've won something. Not that it was planned that way, because I still don't understand how paper beats rock. Nobody's ever thrown me with some paper, and I've bled profusely.
Well, you're going to get a paper cut. You could bleed out from a paper cut.
Yeah, but I'm not hemorrhaging from my skull being beaten in by 80-gram paper.
All right. Well, this isn't 365 tactile, depth discussion. So SharePoint migration, MOVER, those kind of things. You win, you go.
Well, it's not just SharePoint, right? It's file share as well.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the fact that, look, it's always been a thing, right? I mean, I'm busy moving a customer to Office 365, which is, I think, MOVER is more than just a SharePoint migration tool. I think it should be positioned that way, because invariably you don't just go, I've got a SharePoint on-prem and I want to move that to the cloud. A lot of customers are coming from Dropbox, they're coming from Box, they're coming from on-prem file server, and they want to move that to the cloud. And they don't know the name of SharePoint. I mean, who cares about the name of this thing that is actually cloud storage, right? And companies have always struggled with, okay, well, what do we do? Do we go spend $20,000 because we want to move 2,000 mailboxes to the cloud? And what about our file share and all of that? And I think it's a great step for Microsoft to say, well, hey, here's a tool, because let's be honest, the SharePoint migration tool was kind of shitty. Let's and then
make some friends with that comment.
Yeah. So let's go out there, buy a tool that actually works, and let's provide our customers with that richness, because invariably partners can only do so much. If Microsoft wants the rate of change to run at the speed that they want to run at, then they have to sort of, not only take the horse to water, but go grab some sort of funneling system, pull the neck back, open the mouth, and pour the water down the horse's throat, right? And I think that's
the issue, though. So you talked about, doing this because partner challenges and the like, but the MOVER, I believe they're going to be offering it for free for customers.
Correct.
So that's a huge thing. So that is, okay, so partner professional services aside, what we're talking about is you would historically have paid for a migration tool like your BitTitans, like your ShareGate, like your SkySync, like your Cloudyways, and other tools like that to do the migration for you. Yet now Microsoft is saying, we're not just going to provide the service that, your destination, we're actually going to provide the migration tool for free. That's huge. That's a huge amount of partner revenue at two levels they're going.
Yeah, and it's not just a fast track engagement, which I think is really cool, because the fast track team was using Metalogix' migration tool back in the old days to migrate a percentage of the data, 200 mailboxes, whatever. They're still doing it today, obviously not with the Metalogix tooling. But I think it's huge that you now get that bit for free, and you can spend that $20,000 elsewhere. You can go and say, well, shit, man, I can spend that in consulting services times to build out Yammer inside of Teams.
You can. Well, $20,000 to build Yammer inside of Teams. I think you need a little bit more to get your community engagement going properly, but maybe a topic for another time. But what's the challenge here, though? What's the benefit here for partners in the Microsoft landscape? Because they can provide the assistance, but you've now got the you've got the SharePoint migration tool that's for on-prem, so it's a cloud run tool, so that competes with your Metalogix and your ShareGate on-prem installation tools. There's now this migration manager they have in the SharePoint Admin Center that was announced at Ignite, and now there's the MOVER integration. So there's all this stuff that is, look, from Microsoft's perspective, is designed to get you to the cloud faster and easier, and to remove those blockers of those expensive migration tools. But so we've taken away the migration tool cost. Do you think that this will now make it that customers can then just go and do it directly and bypass the partner completely to actually perform the migration?
Yeah, a la carte, right? It's an a la carte menu. You sign up. Think about it this way: about 3 years ago, Microsoft did a study, and 42% of all Office licenses is purchased anonymously, as in I've swiped my credit card to buy the license. So a company's got a credit card, they swipe, they buy the license. It's not driven through a partner. They're trying to fix that. But at the same time, with Microsoft's acquisition of MOVER, they also manage the development of the product. Now think about it this way, right? Let's say you want to move from Lotus Notes, right, or Domino to SharePoint, right?
Okay.
I mean, shit. There are still people doing that. You'd go out and you buy a binary tree and go, okay, I can go from Notes to something in Microsoft, right? And you'd have to buy a binary tree, and binary tree then manages the application development lifecycle of a new release to support something else inside of Microsoft. Whereas in today's world, right, I mean, you could literally go get MOVER, and Microsoft is now building and saying, well, shit, we are actually deprecating this feature inside of SharePoint Online. Don't worry, MOVER will support transforming that web part on-prem to what it needs to be in the cloud. For argument's sake, they will be able to build that, bake that into their migration. Whereas someone like AvePoint on AP Elements side would not necessarily, they'd have to go look at it and say, well, shit, man, there's only 5 customers that are using Content Query Web Part. We're not going to build a tool to migrate that to whatever new web part inside of SharePoint Online. Or being able to say, well, shit, man, we want to do a really good job migrating from Google to Microsoft, or from Dropbox to Microsoft. And Microsoft will now control the ecosystem on how, well, not how, but providing organizations with the best possible experience, because the end state is their product. More so than I've got a product here and I've got a product there, and I'm trying to move stuff between. It's like doing a Teams migration, which is absolute rubbish on Slack, right? It doesn't work well. It doesn't create that chat. That's literally just a page with a transcript of the chat. And that, for me, is not a migration.
Yeah. So do you think that
I've made a screenshot of stuff?
So do you think that by Microsoft simplifying this and making it possible and free, which is a really, really, I think, a big thing that it's free, do you think that this will genuinely accelerate customers' usage of Teams?
I don't think it'll have an impact on Teams. I think it will have an impact on customers actually moving to the cloud. We know that Teams is the new desktop, right? Let's just put it out there. It's the everything stores. It's the new desktop. That's where you're going to interact with the back-end solutions. That's your front end, right? So Microsoft is a full stack establishment, front end Teams, back end all the other products. But what have they been struggling with to date? Not they don't make
customers
the best
to actually get other workloads in.
Yeah, they've not struggled with, oh shit, man, we make the best software. They make the best software. Bar none. You can't compete. Nobody can compete in today's world. 10 years ago, different thing, right? You look at Chris McNulty talking about where they're going with content services inside of SharePoint. And what started 18 months ago, they top right-hand Gartner quadrant now. And for me, that's magic. And that's just the mindset behind how these product groups are working. So the two things that they're struggling with today is getting people into the cloud and getting people to consume the cloud. And they're two totally different things. Consumption can happen, but that is education, change management, adoption. The why. Why should I use Teams? Give me a reason. Why should I use Yammer instead of Teams? Why should I use SharePoint instead of Teams or use SharePoint instead of Yammer? That's the why. But you first have to get the customer into the cloud. And for me, that is what I'm really excited about, because another barrier has been knocked down by the Microsoft sledgehammer. And you don't have to go think about procurement cycles. Oh no, we need to go to tender, buy this product. Shit, man, it takes us 9 months just to go through that, to go spend for $20,000 on an AP Elements Fly or a BitTitan or a Metalogix, a Quest tool to move mailboxes and a bit of file share to the cloud, right? Yeah. Now they don't need that. Now they can go, well, shit, open up admin portal. Oh, here's a cool tool. How does it work? Go to docs.microsoft.com. Here's a naughty guide to how to select the mailbox. Here's a checklist. Boom, I can move the stuff. I'm excited about it.
And I think, look, you mentioned the 20K figure a few times. I actually think it's considerably larger than that, because you look at products like BitTitan Migration Wiz that does document migration and supports a variety of platforms. That tool is about $15 or $10 US per user. And it's also, I think it's also a set amount of gigabytes as well. You've got tools like SkySync that are per terabyte, I think. And it's something like about, I think, $1,500 or $1,000 US per terabyte. You've then, I'm not sure about Cloudyway or AP Elements, but a few others.
Well, Fly is $15. Fly is $15 a user for the mailbox.
So you've got these tools. Okay, so you've got these tools that are potentially big costs. So 20K actually wouldn't take you very far for some of these tools. So what we're saying though is that this tool, having Mover available as a free benefit to customers, if you think about the other benefits they get, is they've got the free fast track benefit. Now you've got this free content migration benefit from competing platforms like your Dropbox, your Box, your Google Drive, your whatever other storage you might have out there. And the Mover functionality is incredibly fast and incredibly good quality in terms of how well it migrates. So basically, this migration is almost a thing of the past. It's a non-event, because we can do it. It's done. It's free now. Just get to the cloud already and start using Teams.
I think what I find interesting is how aggressive Microsoft is. So in the old days, right? Oh, we've got SharePoint Designer InfoPath, right? And Microsoft built those products, and they performed in the little space that they would occupy. But then you had a K2, Nintex, Webcom, Skyberg come along, and they provided another level on top of that to build out workflow, right? And then you had Power Apps and now Power Automate, and they're also adding levels, but it's not an Nintex. In this space, Microsoft gone, well, we don't care about the partner. Who's BitTitan? I don't care about them. Buy MOVER. That's
just
bold
get to the cloud.
and brash. And yeah, that is it's very interesting because there was a spike in migrations, and then companies were going, well, we're no longer a migration company, we're a management company. You've seen that with ShareGate, you've seen that with AppPoint. They've all moved because they've seen the writing on the wall. And this is just the last nail in the migration product company's coffin, right? That we no longer, well, not only that, Loryan's, he's back. Yeah, we're no longer focusing on, I mean, AppPoint have been doing it for the last 3-4 years, saying that they're not a migration company. They're a management company, right? They manage stuff inside of the cloud. ShareGate released products like Overcast and Apricot, or whatever it's called, Pear, Peach, I don't remember. Also to do these things, right? I don't know what BitTitan does. SkySync, I think, is the only one that's going to probably get out of this relatively unscathed, because it's about syncing, not about migrating.
Good point.
Yeah. So I've got a customer in New York that if they spent the money on SkySync, it would have worked perfect for them. Instead, they built this 6 virtual machines using OneDrive Sync to bring stuff down from the cloud to a storage space on-prem that they map back to. True story, Bob. True story. Magic mapped the network drive back. And it's bizarre, right? But I think Microsoft is going, well, partners, if you're not going to do it fast enough, we will do it for you.
And I think that's the thing, we've seen this for years already with Fast Track was, and I used to run a migration company, and then Fast Track came and said, hey, we're going to do migrations for you. And straight away, my business model was challenged. So we had to innovate and adopt, and what we were doing as kind of minor business streams, we had to then change and turn into major business streams, because the migration work was effectively drying up. So there's still migration work out there for complex scenarios. But I think what this MOVER acquisition does is it says, okay, complex, you'll still need some partner services, but the tool, that's no longer an issue. So what you're not going to end up with is with the average mid-market or enterprise customer spending hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions on just the migration tool, let alone the services. Now it's a case of just get the services, get the partner to help you, migrate over and get in our cloud and then use our stuff. So I guess I think it was episode 2 or 3 that we did, where I talked about, I guess, the modern SharePoint potentially being the death to the integrators, to the death of the SharePoint partner. And I think our conclusion from that was that there was still value in intranet-in-a-box solutions and custom solutions, but the average SharePoint style partner, the writing was on the wall, because the modern SharePoint is so cool and sexy and simple to use these days. So I guess what we're saying again is, hey, Microsoft is making it harder. They are cutting your lunch and making it harder and harder. And you need to work harder and provide more value-added services to do it yourself. But also I think what they're saying is, you customer, your excuse for an expensive migration, gone. Shut up and move.
Yeah. Also, there's no barrier. There's no barrier. Oh, no, we need to buy the product. Well, you don't have to.
No.
I'll do it for you.
Nope.
Do it for you. I haven't personally looked at MOVER as in how it actually functions. Currently, it's only available to the US. It's not available outside of the US for free.
I have, and it is muy bueno.
Okay.
Well, you don't know.
I don't.
Trust me, it's good.
All right. Anyhow, is that a wrap? Have we finished?
That's a wrap.
Is that the information? What are your your lasting, not founding statements? In closing, what are you telling customers out there, partners out there? What is their take home?
Well, this was your point. So what is your take home? I just did my wrap up, my take home.
So my wrap up is there should not be a barrier. Microsoft is removing barriers to you moving your customers, or even yourself, if you are a customer, to the cloud. It's getting easier. They are stealing lunch money, but it's getting easier, and you should be in the cloud. There's no real reason that you should be on-prem. Even if you have to move that SharePoint virtual machine to Azure, it's much better, safer, faster if you're not prepared to actually migrate to Office 365 in that way.
Absolutely. Right. So that's it. It's like get to the cloud so they can use Teams and Yammer sooner.
The yamification or the teamification of Yammer and the yamification of Teams. It's like Patrick
Yeams.
Fitzgerald and Gerald Fitzpatrick. Right?
All right. Well, let's wrap that there because my arm's getting tired from holding this phone up.
All right. So if you like this video, hit the like button on the bottom somewhere. Please subscribe, hit the bell if you want to stay up to date when we actually release this, because it's quite sporadic at times. We try to get it out once a week, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. And yeah,
we have a podcast now. We have a podcast now.
Where do people find this podcast? Because I would also like to find it.
You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Google Podcasts. You can find it on soon Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever the hell it's called, and a few others. But if you go to anchor.fm, and we'll put the URL at the bottom, anchor.fm/365 Unplugged. And soon we'll also have 365unplugged.show as a website too, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We're going
Christmas
real.
early. All right.
Maybe one day we can quit our jobs and just do this full time.
Yeah, I'm a content creator.
Hashtag influencer.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.